A writer for The Atlantic is blasting Kanye West's support of President Trump as shockingly ignorant. Atlantic correspondent Ta-Nehisi Coates writing, quote, West calls his struggle the right to be a free thinker. And he is indeed championing a kind of freedom, a white freedom, freedom without consequence, freedom without criticism, freedom to be proud and ignorant. Here to weigh in, CEO of the Black Sphere, Fox News contributor Kevin Jackson joins us today from Phoenix. Kevin, this was quite an article. It was lengthy in very, very long, but he makes some points. And he starts out talking about how when he was growing up, to him, Michael Jackson was a god, and later Kanye West would be a god until this. Kevin.
Oh, I thought you were running a clip. Yeah, well, look, so Michael Jackson was a god until he decided to lighten his skin and take on white features, correct? And the guy wrote the song Black and White. The guy wrote the song Man in the Mirror, or sang the songs, rather. And so Michael Jackson was essentially saying, let me grow up to be what I want to be. But what's interesting about the Michael Jackson piece of it is he talks about how Michael's father ridiculed his nose. He talked about how Michael's father ridiculed Michael's skin color. So Michael comes by whatever the pathology you want to think about it, honestly. But the idea that Michael Jackson, who's one of the best entertainers in the world, can't grow up to be whatever he wants to be, I find interesting. Because here's the thing, Steve. Not too many people in the white community care what Eminem has become. He's become one of the most prolific hip-hop artists on the planet, and nobody cares. And look, how many kids do you think want to emulate LeBron James? How many white kids wanted to be Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or the best baseball player or the best whatever? You know, why is it a color limitation thing only for blacks?
Kevin, here's a little bit of the article. He writes, West's thoughts are not original. They are the propaganda that justifies voter suppression and feeds police brutality and minimizes the murder of Heather Heyer. And Kanye West is now a mouthpiece for it.
Yeah, yet again, more of the Black Lives Matter, cops are hunting out black people, the nonsense of the left, and particularly the leftist blacks, who want people to believe that you're black in America. If you're black in America, you have no ability to change your circumstances or to be whatever you choose to be. And he points to two people, Michael Jackson and Kanye West, who have effectively reached the pinnacle. Why not point to Barack Obama and tell us all that Barack Obama couldn't become? Because that's essentially where he's at. If he really wanted to do a dissection of this particular subject, Barack Obama's a perfect example of it.
Real quickly, Kevin, would he have had a problem with Kanye West if Kanye West supported Hillary Clinton?
Of course not. And that's what really is sort of the contradiction is, as long as you support the powerful white person who's got the Democrat after him, Democrat after their name, you're fine. But support Donald Trump, and it's supposedly bad. Look, they're very afraid, Steve, as you know.
All right. Kevin Jackson joined us today from Phoenix, where it's really early. Sir, thank you very much.